Alright, greetings and welcome back, and a little sneak peek here. I want to show you something that I have gotten further on this. I know I mentioned that I'm working on it, but yeah, if this thing ever loads. There we go. VirtualBox, and it is getting there. I'm animating, although that's a little bit on the slow side. The ship doesn't move yet, and the firing doesn't move yet. I still have to add in some little bit of game logic. But it's getting there. Now, the reason I'm showing you this is because in a future episode, we get into fonts. And what I did is I hand created these, and I'll be hand creating my own text font. So I just wanted to share that as a sneak peek. So here we are. We're going to be working with, in this case, source code. We're going to be working on number 11 here. And if you recall, here in number 11, scrolling down, we have the load, open, close volume, and of course the file system files. Now, before we can even load a file, we have to have what's called the volume. And we have to be able to load that volume, open the volume, so that we can access the file system that's on it. And the file system in this case is FAT32. And we know this because we formatted the drive before we even began this. So once you format your USB thumbstick or the drive.htd file to a FAT32, copy the EFI file over, well then automatically this knows what to look for. That's why we format it like that. And obviously it's a GPT EFI partition. So with that said, we have, let's see, did I clean this up or not? No, I did not. All right. So let's start over here with the main and see what we have. So we initialize the file system here, and we are loading that. And let's see what else. Okay, so I guess what, I mean, it's pretty simple what we're about to do here. So, and of course, what we're loading here is the file right off the drive after we initialize the file system. So before we can actually do that, yeah, that one right there. All right, so we needed this, the volume. And also, if you're missing this, we need that as well at the top. And that, by the way, is covered here. So just recognize that right there. Okay, so moving on, we have pretty much the same, everything here. Graphics, create, delay. We got the reboots, we got the initialize, the graphics here, and now we take care of the file system. And this is open and close file. I've already included the code, but we'll work with that on the next one. Actually, I'm basically combining, I think I skipped ahead on number 11 here, but yeah. Okay, well anyways, I created this function here, and what it does is it loads the handle protocol from the boot services so that we can load the image protocol GUI ID, and that is located in here. And if you scroll down, we have that gobbledygook here. All right, so this is for the loaded image. This one's for the file system protocol, and this is for the path. And all of these are loaded depending on which one you're dealing with here. So you have the file system protocol, the path, and the image. And each one of these, deals with these particular structs so that we can fill in the information. And while we're doing it, we're getting a status back. So that is how you initialize the file system. This is how it's all set up for there. Scrolling down, we're going to open a file, whatever file we have on the drive. And what it does is it takes care of what we have from here, which as you know, is being filled in over here. All right. So, and of course, we have that at the very top right here. And of course, again, file system protocol. So once we fill in the volume, then we use it and to find the root file system, which in this case is like // when you go to run it, that is. And it fills that info in here. And then we take that and we put it here so that we can actually open open the file. And that's what this is about. In fact, that command is right there. Now, to figure it out, the EFI file protocol is located in here. EFI file protocol. And by the way, we have these two that we've added. Okay. Let me make sure that I'm not missing something else up here. Okay. Oh, also, yeah, I did mention that. We added Unicode. Let's see here, /, trying to keep it organized. Nothing here has changed. Got the GUI IDs, okay. Got the time, reset, EFI, descriptor, interface. I'm trying to make sure that I didn't skip anything from the last video. We got the text output. We have the simple text. We have the EFI boot services. This is the runtime services. And now we have the EFI file protocol. Now, the graphics section starts here. So what had to be added was all of this right there. Oh, well, up to here too. And of course this. So all of this had to be added for the file system. We've got the open protocol here, close, delete. We can actually completely read and write. And we can read and write bytes and sectors and files and whatever we want here. So we have this ability. Let's see, what else? That's the EFI system table, which you're familiar with, but the loaded image protocol is different. So this gets filled in as we are manipulating the file protocol here. And the boot volume image, it takes a handle, the system handle, and a device path. And that's where the EFI loaded image comes in, which is right. Where'd I put that? That one, right there. So yeah, and let's see, that's all graphics, so we don't need that right now. But I have all the page numbers here; they're all up to date, so you should be able to do. Now, I originally thought that number 12. I think what I did is I accidentally combined both the 11 and 12, and I probably shouldn't have done that. But you can see it's not that complex. It's just a lot of code. And it takes care of... Now, again, you load the image, which is basically the whole partition. You get the path from the partition, and then the path, which will be the root, which in our case most likely would be like //. Then you get the file system off of this, off of the drive. The path is the drive, and then you get the file system, which in our case, which be FAT32. Then you can take that volume, you open the file, and this right here, why was this? Oh, yeah. Now, we'll come across this later when we have to deal with this, because when we actually have to deal with the kernel, we will get into this aspect of it. But for now, just know that this is kind of like read-only mode. So we're reading these two parameters, or we're reading, okay? That's what that's all about. And it takes the file name that you give it, and sets up the file handle so that we can set up the EFI file protocol, and returns that. And it returns it here. That's what you get when you open the file. And then this, of course, this allows us to close it, whatever the file that we tell it, if it's open. Okay, so that's how these two work. And then what I've done is, that's what it is. Okay, so on the next tutorial, I'll show you how to read this. So, okay, so we can now initialize, we can open, and we can close the file. All right, so let's go ahead and run this. There we go, and do that, say cut. And yeah, there's so much to this. Sometimes I lose track of what I'm doing, so it's not easy. Okay, yeah, do that, and do. And you've probably already seen this, but there's the file, and there's a message in there, but we will get to that. Say paste, replace, there, and it's going to look for that. As you notice, it was on the root is where that was, so that's fine. We will talk about paths later. So I'll close that, and I'll just open this right here, and we're going to use that one. So play that. Oh, not accessible. Whoops, that should error out. My bad. Come on, close. There. I forgot to reset this, and if this ever happens, you could just reset it like that. So you go to desktop, EFI Touch, go to drive, and voila. What I was experimenting, so yeah, that's why I couldn't find it. All right, now we can load it again. All right, we hit the space bar, and we see that we get all of this right here. So after the graphics, we load the image. It came up successful. Draw a device path, volume, the root file system. Then we open the file and close the file that we have specified. And voila. So if we hit the R key, we can actually reboot. And don't hit the Q key because it'll just, here, let me show you what it does. It just basically locks up. It doesn't actually do anything. So yeah, unfortunately, that's I wish they would fix that, but it is what it is. All right, so on the next tutorial, or the video, we'll get into looking at how to actually read that into the buffer and actually displaying it in ASCII or hex format. So, all right, see you next time.